Hello, this is Giulia Castelli. For those of you who do not know me, I am a diamond huntress and a hypnotherapist. I'm hunting for the most amazing people around the world. They happen to be mostly amazing women. Today, on our episode, we have the most amazing, the most beautiful. I really love this woman. She is a sculpting poet and a master goldsmith, Sabine Roemer. Sabine, welcome.
Hi. Hi, thank you for having me.
My pleasure,
Yes.
my pleasure. It's been for so many years we know each other and
Yeah.
we keep bumping into each other, different glamorous events and jewelry shows around the world. And lately I got to know more about you, and I'm just fascinated with what you do, with who you are, and it's time I share with the world, with my followers and listeners and viewers, your story. You have
you.
a fascinating career, a fascinating life. Please tell us what is a sculpting poet and what is a master goldsmith?
Goldsmith, yeah, thank you for having me. And it was so nice to kind of meet you everywhere and kind of go a bit deeper now. It was really lovely to have you here in my studio. What is a sculpting poet? It was very funny. It came about that a lot of journalists and people, they asked me to describe myself, and I decided at the age of 15 to become a jeweler. So I did a work experience for a week, and after that week I did 6 pieces in 5 days, and that was my dream come true. I was like, this is what I'm going to do till the rest of my life, which my uncle actually built this workshop and the bench for me, so I could start as a hobby and then skip school. And then became a trained goldsmith. In Germany, where I'm from, you do an apprenticeship, very classically trained, for 3.5 to 4 years normally, and then you're trained as a gold and silversmith. So gold means jewelry, and silversmith means bigger items, so like a bit sculptures, candlesticks, bowls. So I've got trained in both, and then I won a scholarship for another 3 years from Germany for further education. So I took it literally, and I traveled the world. I went to Australia, I went to New Zealand, I lived in America, in Austria, in Greece, and then when I came back to Germany, I was 23 and I finished with my master degree, which is normally you have to be 7 years in the industry to go back to the school. They accepted me earlier, which I was very thankful, and then I was 24 when I finished my degree. So, which was quite funny because everyone was 38, 40 in my class, and they're like, what are you doing again after 2 years? And I'm like, oh, I want to be a master. So the training is gold and silversmith, and in a master degree. And then after that I came to the UK and I worked for various brands up and down Bond Street. And and I kept learning alongside more and more craft. If it was clay, which goes into sculpture, I worked with titanium and platinum and all different materials. And I sculpt everything myself. So one journalist was like, well, we need to figure out what we call you. One was gold carver, they called me in Hong Kong, which I loved as well. So we're refining and trying to put all this, like nearly 30 years of a career into one name, which is tricky.
You don't even look 30. I don't know how you managed to have a 30 years career. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I love that because, as you know, I'm also in the jewelry industry for 24 years. And you're even younger than me and you have a longer career. That's pretty amazing at 15 to know and to have the deep conviction that this is what you want to do. This is such a gift because most people, until they are at least 20, they have no idea. And even later on, people are still not sure what they want to do. And now with with my second passion, because the first passion is obviously jewellery and diamonds and all things sparkly, but my second passion is coaching and therapy. I do work with people, and some of them come to me at their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're still not sure what they want to do and what is their deeper meaning and deeper purpose. Why are they here? So 30 years later, having this incredible career with so many achievements, I know you have won awards and accolades and titles. What are the biggest stars in your career, your biggest achievements or your star moments?
It's very funny, because even when I was very young, my boss, in hindsight, he was like, the 15-year-old girl coming into the workshop, and then I started as an apprenticeship, and he gave up very quickly with me to give me instructions. He was laughing later, he's like, just make it pretty, here's some stones, there's some metal, just make it pretty. And it was very funny, because everyone was like, oh, what's your biggest achievement, or where did you want to go? And I was like, well, I don't care, I just want to do my own designs, and I just want to be known for that. And everyone was like, that's a big statement at age 15, so not to go into companies and build, and grow your career in that. And so I think in that already I'm living the dream, because I am creating, I can choose, I can pick, and I can create every day what I desire, which is the dream come true. I think that's the biggest star. Over the years, with a lot of mentoring and a lot of support and help, I do think sometimes you're at crossroads and things happen. And so for me, it was a big moment when I was 27 and I worked for someone and I won an award at the time. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I think I need to be on my own now. So I left and jumped into the cold water, and I wasn't sure really what the next 3 months would bring, but I was like, I have a good skill set, I have a good craft, nothing happens, then I will just go and find another job. So I think I said that for 6 years, but, it kind of was like, okay, and at some stage you're like, phew. So don't give up on that dream and conviction. So I think that was a big moment, 27. In that year I met Nelson Mandela. Which was amazing too, obviously. So he's here with us.
Here we have this beautiful sculpture.
Yeah.
So please tell us more about your connection, relationship, and this beautiful piece of art that you created.
Yeah. So during the time when I won the award, I met this beautiful family from South Africa who were diamond miners and cutters, and they said, listen, we love your work, we would love to work with you together. And I worked very close with the son, Nico, and it was beautiful for me, because normally, these stones go straight to the big brands on Bond Street, and I will never see a 10-carat brown flawless diamond. And all of a sudden they were like, here, and just make something. And I was like, okay, but what are we going to do with it then? And then we showcased it at Cannes Film Festival that year. We auctioned one off for AMFA, which was Cinema Against AIDS. So then we kind of connected through the charity work with Nelson Mandela, and they actually then had the idea of me presenting something for his birthday, which was on the 18th of July. And obviously I was so excited. I read every book I could find on him, and I flew to South Africa, and I created a Nguni cow, which was in a similar frame than here. And that started my personal charity concept, which is 10 for 10. So number one was for Nelson Mandela, and it was this beautiful Nguni cow carved in white gold with black and white diamonds, because he had a very deep mystical attachment to the Nguni cow. And then the second one was for Prince William and the Aspinall Foundation, and number 3 was for the Queen of Sweden for the Mentor charity, and then number 4 was this. So our British Queen here, so which was her jubilee. So
that's another
story for later
of your career.
So I think Mandela changed my life, or even like the outlook on how I looked at my career, because I was about to go into Harrods as well and launch there, and Walpole picked me up into the crafter program and the mentorship, and all these things happened, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, I could just build a brand and launch in Harrods and then go to New York and go to Hong Kong and you know, make collections and put these collections out, and meeting him, because I was always like, what can I do for a change? I'm a jeweler, I'm not a politician, I'm not a policeman, I'm not a doctor. And he's like, through your work you can help.
Wow.
And that for me was like, I stepped back from the brand idea. I still wanted to launch at Harrods, which I did in 2010, but it wasn't, I rather did 10 meaningful pieces a year than 10 million, which is just a commercialized item. So that was the biggest, I think, star and change of path in my life.
Well, this brings us to the idea, and I really want us, to women in the jewelry industry, to share with the world that actually jewelry, it's not only what you see and the sparkles and the beauty and only for personal wear, but true jewelry, and jewelry is also a form of art, I believe, and I consider you an artist, your sculpture. So jewelry and art is actually a huge instrument into changing the world for the better. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you shared that right now, because people should know that it's not only what you see, and actually what you see is also beautiful, and just even giving beauty to the world. I'm wearing this amazing necklace from Sabine Roemer. Please, could you tell us when you created it, what it was? I just saw it casually hanging on the light, and then we decided that it will be so much better adorning my neck.
Yes, and it looks great. Yes, it's funny because we even have the making of, or the idea behind it, and I think that's another way of what you said to the women in the jewelry industry or the men, is to not stick true to yourself. But I think I had so many mentors advising me, this is the path you should do, this, go this direction, and I was just like, I think you just need to follow your heart, and because then you're happy, every day that you do the extra work and that you can't go on holiday, that you are staying up late, because when you do really truly what you're passionate about it, then it all fall into place. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, but it will get there. And this necklace was very interesting, because it was 2010, which I think was probably one of my craziest year, because in March I was with Morgan Freeman at the Oscars, where he wore a beautiful bangle of mine. Then I launched in Harrods. Then I did the elephant parade, and my elephant for the art parade was the most expensive one. It was sold for £150,000 for the charity. Then I went to India, and I just wanted to relax. And see the Dalai Lama teaching, which we just experienced, and I just wanted to do this. And then 3 days in, it started raining, and we ended up in the biggest natural disaster in history. But that's for another
episode, because there's so much I want to talk to with Sabine, because we also found out we're both quite spiritual beings, and we share different experiences, and yes, we'll tell, there will be another podcast where we could talk all
about
things
India
spiritual,
and
India and Tibet and Dalai Lama and
so then I survived, thank God, and we got back, and I think 2 weeks later I had to go to Hong Kong to do this big catwalk show, and this piece was on the catwalk though, and actually your bangle as well.
Oh, my bangle, like I called it my bangle.
Your bangle. And yes, the funny thing, this is about a butterfly, but I just didn't want to do it so obvious. So these are two wings and opening up, and that's how you then open it as well, it's this way. So it's the transformation, which is obviously presented by the butterfly. And the necklace was part of an idea which I launched in Harrods that year. So I was obsessed with feathers back then. So I did a falcon collection, I did a big feather bangle, and then they loved it so much, they're like, oh, can you add a bit of color? And we put it on the catwalk. So I had this idea about the beautiful necklace. And the funny thing is obviously how it looks before it gets polished and put diamonds in, it's not that precious. But you basically create one piece in sterling silver. So you have one feather, you carve into silver, and then you have one, obviously, but on this necklace you need 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. So, but if you want them identically, you create a mold, it's called, and this mold is you put the silver in and it gets pressed hot into this rubber, and then you have the negative when it's cold. And with the negative, then there's a little hole on the side and you can inject wax into that and then you can duplicate them. So that's basically a casting process, and that's why you see so many of those feathers. Obviously you have to do a left and a right one if you end up doing earrings, so you do need to have 2 negatives. But then you can duplicate it and then they last a few years and then they dissolve. So then you have to start all over again.
This is so interesting. And I see also, can I take your beautiful camel? You know why? First, because I really love it.
And he's noisy.
He's noisy and I'm concerned about
I know, I always hear it. It's like when you see me when I'm in the house.
So like, at which point do I say, can I have the camel?
We put it down now. And we show you later the stages a bit up close. But it's a similar concept. It just has a bit more steps because I started in wax first because the camel is so soft. It's very textured organic form, which I normally wouldn't start in metal. So you go from the wax, you do a mold again. From the mold you turn and have one silver version, and in the silver version I added all the jewellery parts and the little balls and the little pyramids and the organic decoration. And then I did another mold, and then I went into gold or platinum, and then I added the decoration with gemstones and diamonds at the end. So yeah,
she is fabulous. She is so dressed up. She's quiet because I'm trying to.
It's good.
Yes.
Noted.
I love her. She's very decorated. She's very dressed up. She's a real girl.
Yeah.
I love your jewelry. It's so fun and it's so different. You know, some of them are very feminine and very. I could only think of beauty and femininity, but then this is fun, and you're so rock and roll. Okay, I usually ask this question towards the end, but I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Show me your diamond.
Okay, well, the obvious one is probably my engagement ring. And I made it myself, obvious.
Oh my God!
My husband was actually really relieved when I kind of said, if you ever want to ask, please don't ask any of my old bosses. Like, I want to make this ring. And he looked at me and said, okay, done. So what happened was, I don't think I actually ever told the story on air, but he bought a funny joke ring, I think from Amazon probably or something, I don't know what it was, but it was like, it's 10 pounds, it's one size fits all. It was out of tin, and he put it in a box, and we went skiing in the mountains, and it was Christmas. I was like, Christmas is for a jeweler, not a great time. I'm exhausted. He's like, oh, let's go up, let's go skiing. I was like, no. So we went, and he showed me how to do an avalanche tracker. Oh, wow. So he was like, listen, if you go off piste tomorrow, we need to know how this avalanche tracker works. I was like, okay. So we're going into the snow, and I'm quite competitive. I grew up with 2 brothers, so
we share this quality.
Yeah. So now elbows out. So then he hit it in the snow, and then he's like, okay, go, you have 10 minutes. So I ran off. He was like, wait for me. And I'm like, out. You're killing my time. So I went there, and then I was like, I found it. He's like, oh, but there's something else. I was like, huh? So I went into the snow, and then I found a box. And then I was like, oh wow, okay, didn't expect that. I thought it's chocolate in there or something. Then I opened it up, and then this joke ring was in there, and he proposed, which was beautiful. And we didn't want to call anyone because we both didn't want to spend our next 2 days on the telephone, so we kept it secret. And the only thing I remember, we didn't even do pictures, the only picture I did was of the mountain range around us. And that picture I took, and I was wearing this hideous ring for a while. And then at some stage he's like, can we please go to your dealer? Can we get a diamond and we make something? And my favorite cut is marquise, always been. When I learned cutting stones, you have to start with an oval, but obviously I'm different. I wanted to do marquise first. And my teacher was like, he always was a bit stressed with me. And he said, okay, you just have 6 weeks, and if you fail the class, you fail the class, but you can give it a try. So I did my marquise, so this is a marquise. We'll show you the close-up later, but this is a marquise shape, and there is the mountain range where we were standing on the side in the crown.
I
of the
love
diamond.
it, and there's so much, it's intricate. It's intricate, there's so much more to it, but obviously the center stone is stunning. And I love jewelry with a story.
Yeah.
So
that's how I fell in love with the occupation. Yeah.
With what you do. So
Yeah.
you do
Stories.
jewelry with a story. So you
Yeah.
tell stories through your jewels. And
Or it should evoke an emotion or something. You know, it needs to do something to
Yes.
us. Otherwise, it's
and also
it's accessory. I think I call it.
yeah,
don't
I
think it's
agree.
jewelry
I
for me.
agree. So let's
Yeah.
so accessories when it's just pretty or it does the job, but jewelry is when it has a story and it has a meaning.
Yeah.
Because your pieces all have meaning.
Yeah.
Every time I see you wearing something, I want to know the story.
Yes.
Is there so
So-
here around us we have a few pieces of jewelry.
Yes.
Would you like to share another one or two stories
Well,
about?
I think these are very interesting because I think the jewelry pieces are all very different because I'm experienced so much in my life, and like nearly dying in the floods in India. Then I got very sick after that. I had to conquer that. So meeting Mandela, then don't know how to pay the rent. They were then going to the Oscars. Then there was so much, and I think living all around the world, working in different workshops, you learn a different craft. In every workshop, you pick something up. And I think my jewelry is just everyone's asking me. I was like, "What's your favorite piece?" And I'm like, "The next one," because I'm involving. It's always something. So I think. Going back to your question as well, if it's not the obvious diamond,
Yes.
what it is, for me, what is your diamond is like probably the inner diamond, what you're working on, right? And I personally always say no pressure, no diamond.
Yes.
And it's pressure, and it's probably the not easy times taught me probably the biggest lessons. And I had a lot of those. So I think the stories from these two rings this was definitely a transformation, and I wanted to make a snake inspired ring. So this is the version for me because I think I was shedding a lot the last 2-3 years.
So that's a considerably new creation then.
Yeah, and that's very for me like is this shedding the old.
Oh, and
And
pear
getting rid of
shape.
it.
Pear
I
shape.
love,
There's a lot. Me too. I love it. And pear shape diamond could be tears.
Yeah, I
And
lost my
crying.
mom
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
2 years ago,
I'm so
and I
sorry.
felt that. Thank you. Yeah, I felt it's something. First of all, yes, we need to learn the new emotion, grief, but I think it was more than that. It was an empowerment as well because I was able to go through a lot of things which was buried, and for me it was really an amazing experience in the end, and with her as well, of making peace with everything, and and seeing just compassion and love for each other. So it was a very beautiful thing. So for me that was kind of the snake, and this one is, I call them the superwoman rings. They're like my ultimate favorite, and people call them already the icon because I make them for 10 years now. And every year I'm finding these stones all around the world. They're all different. This is more has a bigger belly, the other ones are spiky, and it's always two. Sometimes it's two hearts, but they always get their own mantra for the person on the inside. And the stones obviously have so much energetic connection and meaning and symbolism behind it. So every woman is different, and every face of every woman is different. And I really sit down and sit with the woman and the client and this superwoman in my life and try to figure out what they actually really need in their life. And the feedback over the last 10 years, it's been so wonderful that, you know, they're saying, oh, you know what, I finally did this business and I wasn't able to, or I finally went on this television show and I wore your ring because I didn't have the guts otherwise. It's like this daily reminder that you have it all in you. You just, whatever you want, you can get.
This is
the superwoman ring.
So the superwoman ring, oh, I need one of those for sure in my life. Every woman needs a superwoman ring, I think.
Yes.
And this also concept is very, very close to my heart because yes, true jewellery, sourcing jewellery for private clients, I'm able to partake in bringing more power through the stones that we choose for the client, but also to bring more beauty into the life of that woman. And with my therapy and coaching work, then I help that woman polish her inner diamond. And now, I don't know if I shared with you, but I'm writing this book, Polish Your Diamond Within. 7 steps guide to finding your inner light.
Amazing.
So I believe through your work, this is what you're doing. You are empowering women, and through my work and now putting it into words, I also do that. And there's so many ways we can do that, through art, through jewellery, through writing a book, or therapy and coaching.
Yeah.
But that's very important because we're women and we need to support each other. And that's why I love inviting women to my podcast and my YouTube channel, because when we come together, we're so much stronger. There's so much energy and we inspire each other. I feel so like my vibrations have risen since I'm talking to you, because I get excited. I feel how strongly you feel about what you do. And you're so unique because you actually make your jewelry. Yes. Most jewelry designers are jewelry designers because they're maybe the creative directors, maybe they show the direction, maybe they even draw their jewelry. But actually you even make it yourself, you know, with all those tools. It's incredible. I mean, they're not, at least you're the only one I know in this way. So you're very, very special.
Thank you.
Wow, what else? You know, there's so many questions.
So many stories. This used to be from cornerstones. And these were the times when I lived in New York and had the New Year. And they actually did pet detachable, which is quite cool.
I love that. Transformers. I love the transformers.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm very big on transformation, transforming people, but also transformable jewelry, because you buy one and you wear 2 or 3 pieces.
Yeah, you wear this during the day and then you add this in the evening. So I love these, and they're like they're new beginnings as well, because they're the fireworks from New York. And these, it's a bow, obviously, or ribbon, but these I did a bow to the women around me. So this was, again, like, I have, the similar, I think it was very, you know, where I think we share that we grew up in a male environment, and I think I'm shedding all that at the moment as well, and I really have amazing women around me, and I love that energy coming together and probably healing that feminine energy within me.
And because we both believe in in the unique, in the one consciousness, and we're part of it. We cannot live alone. And actually, looking back through history, we were created to live in tribes, right?
Yeah.
And that's why when we come together, we collectively heal as well.
Yeah.
So we both have gone through hard times, and each time we go through a hard time, we polish another facet of our inner diamond. And it's a beautiful time in our life. You can already, so you are also a wife, you're a mother, and you have amazing career. I mean, it seems like you have it all. Do you feel like you are, okay, no, I've done everything I wanted. What's next for Sabine Roemer?
What's next? Well, I'm very happy, I'm very content in my life. I know there's always movement, there's always growth, especially the last couple of years, but I think everyone felt it's been tough, and the growth within us, and we just have to like step up now. So I'm happy. The next thing is launching some of the beautiful pieces and having like this, I don't want to call it mini exhibition, but the mandala will be there. The stamp I will take to New York in January and showcase it at Bergdorf Goodman, which I'm really excited about.
The place to be while in New York.
And then and for my birthday, which is nice because I think it's another new beginnings.
When is your birthday?
10th of January.
Oh, beautiful. And on 5th of December, so very soon.
Yeah.
When you come back, we celebrate both of our birthdays.
Yes, let's do that. What else? Then I want to learn to work with marble.
Oh, wow. That's next step.
So that's the next
Is it
spring.
harder? Because is this bronze?
So this is bronze. And here you start, so in jewelry you start normally in wax carving, and with bronze you would start in clay. So because of the clay, I had an amazing mentor, and hopefully we had the crazy idea to do something next year together, so hopefully that will happen as well. But he taught me how to, for example, you need a skeleton underneath the clay, otherwise when you put clay it will just collapse. So you have a skeleton, then you put the clay on, and then you kind of slowly go where you need to be, and then you cast it into bronze from the wax. So they have one step in between as well, wax. So this is completely bronze, and then at the end I added black diamonds for the main events of Nelson Mandela's life. So obviously the shape is now Africa. So here was Robben Island. Here he was born. He died here. He did the peace agreement. This was his first visit as a president, when he was president. And up here, which I didn't know. So when I spoke to the family, I was like, I didn't know he was hiding in Morocco. And he's like, well, then it wouldn't have been a good hiding spot. Yeah, true that. But yeah, so in Morocco, he did his military service. So this is up here. So yeah, so it's literally the long walk to freedom on his face in the shape of Africa. And this was the last piece I discussed with him before his passing. So this would have been on his next birthday, because every year I did the sculpture on his birthday. But yeah, he passed in December that year, which is 11 years ago now this year. And so last year when it was 10 years, I was always scared to do it because it's his face, and I really wanted to be respectful and obviously capture him so well. So I was really scared of doing it. But then after the 10 years last year passed, I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
And it's beautiful. You have done such an amazing job. And I'm sure, you have, people have written about that. Yeah. And yes, it's very, very special.
Yeah, and Morgan Freeman got the first one, which was very nice, because we have such a long history together as well. So he had number 1. This is number 2, which goes to Bergdorf Goodman now, and I'm gonna only do 8. Wow. It's gonna be 8 of 8. So
incredible. So then next marble.
Yes.
Wow! I can't
God
wait.
knows what. I don't know.
God knows what. Exactly.
God knows what.
The unexpected. You're such another trait we share. You rebel. You are such a, you're the naughty child.
As soon as they can fit you into a box,
that's
you're like,
it.
okay, let's do something else.
Yes, I do that. I escape boxes all my life, and that's why now I say I'm pretty unemployable, and maybe I'm not even a marriage material either.
Oh no!
Well, I shouldn't say that. Never say never, right? Yeah, I do
Find
believe
the
in
diamond.
love. Yeah, I'll find the diamond, my diamond.
Yes.
So, because we about storytelling, I wanted to share. You shared your beautiful engagement ring story, and I wanted to say that I also have mine is not as exciting. Well, of course, we don't compare. We don't compare. It's exciting, actually. It's beautiful. So, but what we had in common, you told your fiancé, please let me have it, and I told my fiancé, because I'm in jewellery, I said, please, when you're ready, let me know. And but you know what I told him? I said, instead of saying, I can save you money because obviously I have connections, I'm in the industry, I just said, we'll get a bigger size for your budget. Exactly. So that's what we did, and I managed to have an incredible ring, also custom made for me from Graf did it. I didn't know you then, but God knows, maybe the next one.
Yeah, the next one is on me.
Yes. So what else? Okay, I already know that I would love to have you for another podcast when we can talk more things deep, spiritual. Also, I know you're into healthy living. We just discussed.
I mean, we do a kitchen show.
we do a kitchen show. She has a machine to make her own nut milk, and not only that, so many things in the fridge. But let me also share a funny story. I arrived because this is my first time visiting Sabine and her studio. So in my culture, you never come with empty hands. So I didn't have really the time because I was sorting after my handyman. But I brought something more special than flowers. I brought very special water, and I found out
very welcomed.
So the water that I drink. So yes, cheers.
Good water, yes.
Good water, good skin.
Very important.
So yes, next time we do that.
Yeah.
So how do because there's two main directions at the moment. You have Roemer London, beautiful, wearable, amazing jewellery. And you have Sabine Roemer, the jewellery that you create bespoke. And it's mostly high jewellery, right? So is there something that you would like to offer for our listeners, viewers, and for my tribe? Because now they'll be like, we know you, Sabine.
Well, for the high end, you can go through you, and you just can put me in touch. It's hard and not hard to find me, but normally it's only through recommendation. I don't really do DMs or random emails, so
guys, just ask me and I'll arrange a private consultation. And it's a beautiful process. It's a whole process. It's a journey with Sabine, where she would find out what is that you need, and she would give it to you in a form of jewelry.
So I think that's the high jewelry. That's what you see here everywhere. But then 10 years ago, when I had my daughter, Roemer, I was like, how can I spread the beautiful craftsmanship, the beautiful pieces for everyone? And I know it's still luxury, and I still, appreciate that there's a value to it. But I'm trying to do it in either 9-karat gold or vermeil to kind of really help with the price points. So this brand is called Roemer London, and we can obviously put a discount code there as well for your followers.
So shall we choose JC? Is that enough, or would you like to choose the code?
Or we just put it down in the show notes.
Okay.
Is that the easiest?
Yes. We'll
then
put a special code for you to get.
And you can find it in the bio, and then you can use it online anytime you want. And yeah, we have beautiful zodiacs, which is my favorite.
Oh, I think I need one
Yeah,
of those
so
in
the
my
zodiac's
life.
amazing. So it's hand carved, and then on the back you have your birthstone and your constellation. We did a beautiful collaboration with Elle Macpherson, who is an amazing shining light in my life. She is an amazing woman and just brought out her book as well. I don't know if you haven't read it, you have to read it. Yeah, a superwoman, supermodel, supermom, and we did this with the lotus flower and her sitting in there, and it's the same concept. I mean, she wrote this beautiful quote on the back, which is always follow your heart or use your compass, use your heart as your compass, which is, I think, beautiful. And so yeah, so all these pieces you can find on Roemer London, and these earrings as well, which I think is a fun, good statement earring without your ears going green, because most of the stuff is like fashion stuff, and I call them accessories. So yeah, so it's a beautiful brand. It's 10 years going now. So yeah, my oldest is 10. And yeah, it's Roemer London, and it was a little piece of me, of Roemer. So it's a beautiful brand. Yeah,
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
So to close this episode, I would love, let's say, if someone is listening to us and thinking, yes, you know, you're in the limelight and you have achieved it all, but I don't feel like I know where I'm going. I don't know what my purpose. I don't know why I'm here. I'm feeling that it's hard. What would be your advice? How could someone who is experiencing hardship right now, how could they pick themselves together and find that light?
So I think for me, obviously, it's such a personal journey for everyone, and I think you can find the time to listen to your heart or your inner self, or whatever you want to call it, your true self. I think you can find that through different mediums, through different practices. I started a long time ago with yoga, because yoga connected, first of all, my mind and my body together. So you're more aware of what you eat, you feel better, you're healthier, so you do very different decisions. Recently, I really loved breath work, and there's an amazing practitioner. Her name is Mira. She's a special soul, and she's one of these superwomen I know in my life, and she helped me through a lot. And yeah, there's so many I can mention, but I think if you don't have the time, if you don't have the resources, it's overwhelming who to go to, start with yourself. If you don't have 10 minutes to meditate and do breath work, start with 1 minute, then do 2 minutes. Everyone should have 1 or 2 minutes for themselves, and just be quiet. Just stop the brain thinking and just listen to your inner self, what it has to tell you. You have all the answers. You don't need to speak to someone. So I think that's the first step. Even when I'm overwhelmed with my life and children and traveling and all this, the best practice is just to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes for yourself, and just go lock yourself in somewhere, even if it's your closet. Just shut everything off. They can watch a bit of TV for 10 minutes, it's fine. And you just be with yourself. And other tools is like there's so many amazing women who help you through the steps. And I had a lot of help in the last couple of years, and they all teaching you, I think, to find yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a tool.
Reach out if you guys think that, if you resonate with my energy, if you think I can help you. I would love to hold your hand. I would love to shine my light on your diamond, to show you your talents, to show you your beauty, because I believe we all have it. And as Sabine said, we all have it within us. Sometimes we need a little bit of help finding it, but once we find it, then you embrace it, because the universe or God or whoever you believe in had a reason to put you here. Just believe that. And Sabine, it's been such a pleasure to have you. I want to talk to you
for the time.
For so long, and that's why you're already invited to another
next
episode.
one. Let's do it. I would love
Bye
to.
guys,
Thank
lots
you.
of love.
Bye.